I said Friday on my radio show, I would have called him. Relationships matter. If I said to you, you're going to start a company, you got 3 weeks, which is basically what the Dolphins have, you'd be like, okay, what friends do I know? We all lean on our friends. We all lean on relationships. We do it in the media. You do it in law. You do it in sports. And football, for people that haven't played it, and you guys all have, there's a language. And Adam Gase and Cutler have the same offense. It can be plug and play to a large degree. I think it works. I predicted it Friday. I miss a lot, but this one seemed obvious to me.
I don't even understand how Kaepernick is in this conversation in Miami. Jay Cutler has a relationship with the coach. Again, like you said, knows the offense, knows the language of the offense. Is a more talented pocket-passing quarterback than Colin Kaepernick, and also doesn't have the baggage of having worn socks that depicted cops as pigs, hasn't worn a Fidel Castro T-shirt in a city like Miami with a big Cuban population, and doesn't have a group of sycophants ready to play the race card if something goes poorly for Jay Cutler. You can actually sign Jay Cutler, play him, bench him, cut him, do whatever without being called names. Why wouldn't you hire that guy?
Well, I'm surprised. And only not that he signed with the Dolphins, that Jay signed with the Dolphins. For every reason you guys just brought up, it makes sense, okay? He understands the offense and all of those things. He's played in Adam Gase's offense, and they realize that they need a starting quarterback. That's what I'm looking at. You like Matt Moore as your backup. You're looking for someone to be your starter, and it makes sense for Adam Gase to go do that. The surprise for me comes from the fact that you had one guy that said he didn't want to play and took another job, and then you have a guy who wants to play. So not necessarily with the Dolphins, but I would have expected Colin Kaepernick to get an opportunity before Jay Cutler, because Jay had retired and moved on. That's my only surprise in it.
Don't players say a lot of things?
Well, you say a lot of things, but you don't take other jobs. So I mean, he not only said I'm out of this, he dropped the mic on football, but he signed on to be an analyst for Fox.
Someone has to want to give you a job in order to take one.
He signed on to be an analyst with Fox with outs in his contract so he could leave when some NFL team called him. I mean, don't forget now, he's coming off a labrum tear and a labrum surgery that he had in December as well. So there was some point of time there where he probably wasn't ready to play. But the bottom line is, the reason this makes so much sense is they have that relationship like you talked about. There's no question about that. They speak the same language. Listen, you can say whatever you want about Jay Cutler. He's probably the biggest, the biggest tease in the National Football League, in the history of the National Football League. The guy has got unbelievable talent. He mopes around like Mopey McMoperson. You know, you look at him, you're like, what kind of leadership does this guy have? He has none. But the bottom line, he can flat out throw the ball. And he's smart. He understands Adam Gase's system. And in that system, by the way, he completed almost 65% of his passes for 3,600 yards, 21 TDs, 11 interceptions. The guy can play from the pocket, and he can speak that language, the check-with-me systems, the checks from the line of scrimmage, the spread aspect of what Adam Gase wants to do. He knows it. He walks in there. If Colin Kaepernick, if you were to hire Colin Kaepernick, you've got to completely change your offensive system, and 10 guys have to learn a new one.
Well, you know what? Not necessarily that you have to change it, but you have to start teaching it all over again. Right. So if you don't believe that Matt Moore is your starter, and you say, I want to bring someone in to be the starter, you have to teach him your offense or get someone that already knows it.
But you have to teach the other 10 guys that have been working through OTAs in the first part of camp. You've got to say, hey, we're going to change. We're going to add some things to it. We're going to take some things away. So that's where it makes perfect sense.
No, that's the assumption. That's the assumption that he can't run the offense.
Eric is saying he could run that offense. They just have to teach him. You're saying they would have to change the offense and run an offense that works for Colin Kaepernick.
You could run it. Could you run it efficiently? Because the one thing that he's shown me over the course of his career is that in a spread, zone read, run first type of get on the edge, one read, you're throwing it to this guy, X slant, and we're gonna show that handoff, then we're gonna throw the X slant. Can he operate that? Absolutely. A pro-style, between the hashes offense, Colin Kaepernick has showed me he lacks in that.
He struggled in that.
Right.
I agree with that.
By the way, I lived in Florida for 2 years, in Tampa. Huge Cuban population, influential. Like, the Castro shirt, to me, is not a little deal that Kaepernick wore. Ozzie Guillen, at the time, was a wildly flamboyant, popular manager. Made a comment as the Marlins manager about Castro. Had to apologize to the city. He was employed and popular, and they put on the brakes. Kaepernick's unemployed, and last time he was in Miami was booed. He's unpopular. in South Miami, befriending or speaking well of Castro is a huge negative.
No, but don't get this crossed over right here. I'm not saying that I thought that was the spot for him. I'm just saying, have we started this? I'm surprised that a guy who took another job got an opportunity before him. That's all I'm saying right there. I don't think that was necessarily the spot for him as well.